So that's our thoughts about Lawler and Covington. Now let's move on to Cyborg and her being released from the UFC. So we saw this coming.
You said something last week, and it was reverberating inside me every single time.
I saw this coming like miles away.
You said if she resigns with the UFC, I'll be shocked.
I will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it. I mean, her relationship with Dana is so toxic.
It is.
You know, they're just talking shit to one another, and Dana trashing her on all these interviews, and then Cyborg, you know, trashing Dana. It didn't seem like it was going to work.
No.
And so I was like, there's no way this is going to continue.
Right.
There's no way.
And Dana he just keeps lashing out at her, even though that.
I mean, there was an interview I saw just right now that he's still trashing her.
Yeah, he said she doesn't want to fight Amanda Nunes because she knows that she'll knock her out in the first round again.
Right.
She knows it's a fact.
Right.
You know, like just. Hey.
My theory is I think Dana's thinking that Cyborg doesn't want to fight Nunes because she's not willing to sign a 5-fight contract.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's thinking that.
I want to know how much truth there is, though, about the fact that they were trying to give her the fight and she and Cyborg was asking for other people. I want to know how much truth
I
there is
heard,
to that.
so there was an interview that, you know, and it was interesting the way that they released that information, how Dana had a sit-down interview with some lady, I can't remember her name, but the UFC put that out.
Yeah.
And then that's where he announced that they were cutting ties with her.
Yeah.
And
Lorisenko.
Yeah, and he was talking, or Dana was saying stuff that what you were just saying, that she wanted other fights before the Amanda Nunes fight.
Yeah.
Easier fights, in his opinion. So that was a bit interesting to learn. Yeah. Or to hear him say.
Right. But I mean, now that we're on the other side, we know that she's not coming back. The wait starts.
Do you think this is, as far as the UFC standpoint, where the state of the featherweight division is now for the women's, is this a big hit for them?
Man,
on that division.
I mean, I guess so, just because Cyborg is just such a recognizable name.
Yeah. Because we were just talking about how, I mean, we named 3 fighters.
Yeah, I mean,
that are like legit featherweights.
Right.
You take away Cyborg, now you have what, 2?
Pretty much.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, because Megan Anderson has now lost to Cyborg and Felicia Spencer.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. I feel like the situation ultimately is what's best for both parties, because for the UFC, it's not like they were necessarily counting on Cyborg for that featherweight division anymore. Especially that Amanda Nunes is the current champion. She'd be the favorite going into a rematch.
But who will she fight next?
Well, I don't know. She's probably going to stick around at bantamweight and defend a little bit.
I mean, it's not really a division.
It's not.
It's kind of like the flyweight in the men's.
Yeah.
They're really.
I mean, no, flyweight.
Well, flyweight actually no. I'm sorry. I take that back. But when
I get what you mean though.
Yeah. Where it's like there's uncertainty.
Yes.
And I think with the featherweight, I mean, there's only 2 fighters. Are you gonna crown a champ when there's really only 2 fighters?
Well, I mean, Amanda Nunes definitely deserves to be a champion.
For sure. Yeah. And she's a bantamweight champion for sure.
Yeah.
But is there enough competition or even fighters in the division to even maintain it? Now that you take away Cyborg, who's been asking for that featherweight in the UFC for a while, and then she got it, yet they haven't filled it up with fighters.
Right.
So now my question is, do you just take away that division altogether?
So, I mean...
Or do you think Dan's going to go crazy and sign featherweight fighters?
I feel like...
Or at least that's what I hope.
So, when it came down to the uncertainty with the flyweight division, and they kept asking Dana White about it, he was very non-committal about it. You know, he kept saying, we'll see how this thing plays out, blah, blah, blah. It took him a really long time to get to a point where he was comfortable saying, like, the flyweights are safe.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we're going to be fine with this category. And it doesn't seem like he's doing the same thing with featherweights. They asked him, I can't remember what the exact question was, but I believe at the last UFC presser, they asked him if he had plans for the future of the featherweight division, and he said yeah. So it seemed
That's good to hear.
I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's promoting the current fighters that they have already a little bit better. I don't know if that's necessarily signing more featherweights. We'll see. Maybe some featherweights show up on the Contender Series.
That's my big hope, or maybe how his envision of the UFC Apex.
Right, because we're getting rumblings now that we might get a second season of the Contender Series this year.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
because it's doing so well.
For sure.
So maybe that's what happens. We get some featherweight contenders in the Contender Series, which has been phenomenal so far.
Yeah.
The Contender Series has been.
There's some really been good fighters coming out of that.
100%. Yeah. There are some fights on the. There's at least one fight on the Contender Series, so far every week that I've watched this week, that is like worthy of like not main event but like main card.
Right.
There's been solid fights
on the
Contender Series. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Where do you think Cyborg goes from here?
Personally, I think she ends up at Bellator.
You think so?
It just seems like the most natural fit. At PFL, I feel like it would be fun for her to do some stuff with the girls there. But just because of the way that organization runs, I don't know if it necessarily benefits her, because like, let's say right now, if she goes to Bellator, she could probably get an immediate title shot.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think she'll get a tune-up fight before that.
Who knows?
Personally.
I mean, I don't see the problem with that. But I'm sure even you could agree it'd be one tune-up fight at most.
For sure.
Right? So in 2 fights, she's looking at a title shot already.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to in PFL, she's got to go through the same way that everybody else has to go through. You got to win your way into the playoffs.
Yep.
And then once you get into the playoffs, you got to work your way through that and win the title.
Yeah.
Which I'm not necessarily saying that she wouldn't be down to do, but if there's a better option for her and she could just go to Bellator, she's got good connections already with Scott Coker.
Yeah.
There's the featherweight champion there that already wants to fight her.
Yeah, I mean, she threw a little hint towards Cyborg on her Instagram. I think Cyborg has options. I think she can go the route with Bellator. There's still the ONE FC championship that she can do. Mm-hmm. She's even talked about going into boxing.
Yeah.
What she can still do if she wanted to. I think she can end up making more money doing boxing. What do you think? There's more money to be made, it seems like, when you go into boxing.
Maybe. But I feel like the more compelling matchups are for her still in MMA.
Yeah.
And she does a really great job with her management team of really building her brand.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot. And we're marketing majors, so we've heard that a lot, right? And
it's important.
It can get watered down a little bit when people keep mentioning that over and over again. Oh, build your brand. But she does it the correct way. She's doing stuff that isn't only necessarily related to fighting.
Yeah.
You know, she does other things. She does stuff for the community. If you go on her Twitter and Instagram, she just worked a regular shift at a Dunkin' Donuts, I think.
That's
in
hilarious.
Tustin. Like, that's super cool stuff that she's just worked. Like, you can literally just go to Dunkin' Donuts right here, and in our backyard basically, and just go order coffee from Cyborg. Like, you know what I mean? Like the kind of stuff that people joke around about.
Yeah.
She does cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to the presser for UFC 239.
That's the one with John Jones, right?
No, not 239. Sorry, 31. I want to say.
Yeah, I don't
32.
remember that.
Sorry, 32.
Wait, that is the John Jones
Gustafson one.
Yeah.
We're all just outside waiting for the presser to start. We're in line waiting for them to let us in, and she literally just walks out with
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
With a couple people from her crew and starts handing out stickers like in person.
Oh really?
Yeah, she just started walking around talking to people.
Was she taking pictures and?
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that would help her when she goes to somewhere like Bellator.
Yeah. Where
she can get, even more sponsors. She can get sponsored on her shorts. She can get that banner before the fight starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much that Bellator and Cyborg could do together. I just feel like that's the best fit for her, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think my prediction was that she was going to end up in Bellator, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, this crazy news about that.